Have you been trying to get that great photograph and can't seem to figure it out? What kind of equipment should you buy if you want to be a photographer? The creative process. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time to develop.
You got to keep yourself confident, or you will show it in your photography. You'll show it in whatever you do. If you're lacking confidence, you'll show it. And I feel like that in photography, you're just snapping photos.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people are just snapping photos with the best camera they can get. So they go out and buy the lens, the best camera, they try to get into the most popular spots. Okay, I try to do the opposite of that. I'm going to be in the same spots because we're all in the same place. But what can I do to differentiate myself from everybody else?
Listen to this episode to get some tips on how to be a better photographer and capture that shot that you've always wanted to get. Adam Wayne, one of the top 10 photographers in the St. Louis area, will discuss these and other issues. Welcome to St. Louis in Tune with Arnold Stricker and Mark Langston, where we size up current and historic events involving people, places, and things in areas such as the arts, crime, education, employment, faith, finance, food, health, history, housing, humor, justice, and sports. Our weekly podcast originates from and connects the gateway city to our country's current cultural fabric and lives. Adam Wayne, who's a photographer, I've been watching his photographs on Instagram for a long time, and there was one photograph that just really got me going personally. That particular shot of King Louis IX on his horse in front of the art museum was from a perspective that I'd never seen. And I've seen that statue a long, long time. But when you look at Adam's photographs that he takes, the perspective and the creativity involved in that is just amazing. And that's why he's been named one of the top 10 photographers in St. Louis by Channel 2, Fox 2.
Yeah.
And the guy's good. Adam, welcome to St. Louis in Tune.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Honored.
We're honored to have you here. So tell us your story. You have a very interesting story. Photography is not your first kind of natural love. It's not what you do for a quote-unquote living.
No.
So tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, turning 30 years old, I was still cutting meat. I got my meat cutter's journeymanship through Deerberg's, and I ended up losing that job for being late at work, like I have been a lot in my life, late to work. My boss is listening probably right now. Yeah, you've been late to work. Fabulous Fish is what I work with now, so I cut fish for a living now, but I used to cut for Deerberg's and U.S. Foods and Schnucks, Save a Lot. I just got done. But basically, I had cut my finger off at a job at U.S. Foods, like halfway off, and they sewed it back on.
Oh, wow.
But I took that money and I bought a camera with it. But before that process it had happened, I was really depressed. I had just lost a job prior to that, but I had a kid on the way, and I was dealing with like family. I had never had a family before, so the first time, and I had lost a job. And just being depressed, super depressed, I was walking through the woods, and I was just seeing everything differently. Like everything, like the trees, the light, and that was what gave me inspiration to keep going, was the confidence that if I could just capture these things that I see, I can make myself happy every day, and that would make me happy every day. So that's basically how that happened, is me being inspired by nature, which took that to downtown, which was only because I worked downtown. At Save a Lot, they had me working down on Jefferson, which is right near the Soulard Art Gallery.
So where were you walking through the woods?
Actually, I started in Sunset Park and near my house in Florissant. So that's a really pretty park. I went there one day and I was crying. I literally cried in the woods because I was super sad that I had just lost a job. And I basically just told myself, you can't just give up. Whenever I'd never dealt with depression before. I always had anxiety, but I'd never had depression, like a deep depression. So that's what got me out of it, was just being inspired by nature and be able to, knowing now that if I started with my cell phone and I used to just edit it through my phone, and I was like, if I just have a camera, if I just had just a nice little camera, I could really do something with this. And that's what gave me inspiration, is to keep going.
And people would say that your current camera, it's like an okay camera, but for a photographer, for a professional photographer, they would be like,
yeah, I make it work. It's a Canon Powershot SX530 440. You can buy it at Best Buy for $350. Yeah, it's super not
Crazy.
expensive. And it's got a creative shot setting on it, which I haven't read the manual on the camera.
Good for you.
I haven't. No.
I was going to
really
ask you
haven't.
if you have finally gotten around to that.
No, there was a couple of times where I wanted to figure out how to do long exposures at night because I don't do too much of it. But I was like, oh, okay, that's how you do it. And then after that, yeah, I didn't really need to touch it. And I try to avoid any information. So everything that I'm creating, I know I did it on my own.
Mm-hmm.
So I know it's creative. You understand? So it came from my thought. I know it's creative. I know I'm thinking on a different level. I already thought that before. Whenever I was seeing things, I don't think anybody's looking at this tree that I'm looking at this tree because there's no one around me looking at this tree. And now I look at everything like that. Everything. No one's going to look at. I get impressed by a lot of things that I see throughout the day, and I know no one else is looking at it like that.
Wow.
So now I got to show off to it. I really do, because it's showing off to me. It got my attention. So now I got to do my best to make this, whatever I'm seeing, creative, good, and something that's pleasing to the eye. And then I really don't use any editing tools besides like a photo editor app, which is just like a basic contrast, saturation, highlights, nothing fancy. I don't add anything to my photos. I've been like that since I started, no Photoshop.
Yeah.
So I want to keep it as natural as possible.
Raw.
But with a digital camera, you're not shooting film here. It is a digital camera, so it does make it look very clean and crisp. With the 20 megapixels that I have on this particular camera, it's just enough that it's quality.
You get your contrast?
Yeah, you get your quality and your sharpness, and you can print. You can make prints out of it, large prints. And I didn't know that before, but now I do. I had a Canon Powershot before this one, but I upgraded during 2020.
Okay.
Yeah, my camera, I dropped it, and they sent me back the wrong camera.
Are you kidding me?
Nope.
Wow.
The newer version.
Oh.
Canon sent me back the newer version of my camera, which I didn't even know they had it. I was like, and the whole time I was shooting with this camera, I was like, I wish they would just create a little bit more advanced camera of this same camera, because then I would just love that.
And they did.
They just sent me it on accident, I
They
guess.
were listening to you.
Yeah, they knew. This
If
is
you
divine
think about it,
intervention.
Send this to Adam Wayne in
It's
St. Louis.
divine intervention.
It is. If you think about it long enough, and you really, because we all are energy. If we
Right.
put it out there in the world, you can do anything. And they say that all the time. It's cliche. It's cheesy.
Nope.
But if you keep doing it and you know what you want, you got to know what you want.
Right.
You can't just think positively and positive things are going to happen. You got to know what you want, and then you got to do the work too.
And you got to go after it.
You got to go after it. You got to get out there and got to go after it.
So did you have any kind of background in photography before you started this?
Zero.
Other than being in photographs?
Zero. And I just like someone the other day goes, your work looks like Ansel Adams. And someone the other day goes, Mike Eastwood. Something Eastwood is a St. Louis photographer, a musical photographer, I believe he is. I didn't know who he was at the time, but I looked him up, and he was in the Times. He was in a lot of big, I could look at his name up right now, but either way. So they're comparing me to these very
Right.
good photographers, which I only got the eye. I got the eye, and now I got the camera, and now I got to make it happen.
Well, and Mark, this is what's interesting about Adam, is because you mentioned Ansel Adams. So he does nature kinds of shots. You've got Margaret Burke White, who would do a lot of buildings and things like that. Gordon Parks, and then Ernest Withers, who did a lot of shooting during the Civil Rights Movement.
Right.
Dorothea Lange. So there's a slug of people. And I guess my question to you, Adam, is you don't really have you do. You have a fascination of certain kinds of things. It's not necessarily nature, or it's not necessarily buildings. Like, you love the arch. You know, that's your mainstay.
Yeah, it's my niche, because I feel like no one was looking at it like I was looking at it. They looked at it, as far as I was concerned, like when I first started taking pictures of it and putting them on Instagram, people thought it was cliche. And even to this day, they're just sick of seeing the arch. Or another picture of the arch. Now when you see my pictures, I want someone to be like, oh my gosh, I've never seen it like that before. So I look at it like a Rubik's Cube, and I look at it like, how many different ways can I really put this together? How many different ways can I figure this out? And when I get there, when a similar angle presents myself, which St. Louis ain't very huge. It's a small little city. But I have to implement something of my creativity. So I'll throw a rock in the water, or I'll use my hand in the image, or I'll make sure I use that light that's coming off that strand of grass, or the leaf that I see. I want to implement that around the photo, but it has to have the perfect light, and you have to be in the perfect angle at it. And then you knew you added yourself into that photo with all that thinking involved, and you're really passionate about it. something special can come from that.
You know, what you want to see through the lens, your field of vision, your viewpoint. I read somewhere where you thought, I bet that viewpoint hadn't been seen before, and so you climbed into the tree and shot that particular object from sitting in the tree, which is creative, but you're looking at things, my words now, with a nature kind of viewpoint and linking what we've made with buildings and the arch and things like that with nature and what has been naturally done.
Yeah, true. My brand name is Adam Wayne Arts. That's how I go by. But the architect is like the nickname I gave myself. The arch is like the first four letters in architect. So I thought that was clever. And I could have named it Architect or I Detect the Arch or something like that, but that's not what I wanted. I am the architect because I believe that I'm representing nature is architecture and architecture is nature. So I want to implement them both as one, because they're one and the same to me. We get all of our crazy genius ideas from nature. Everything I see around us, I'm like, oh, I know they looked at nature on that one. Right. The architect himself, I know what he did there. And so now I'm going to try to implement that into my photo. How am I going to, even if he didn't try to do that, if he sees it, I'm pretty impressed that I didn't even know I did that. That's what I want. I want the architect himself to be impressed by the photo that I noticed that you didn't even notice you did. There's some light cutouts of photos. So if you have a frame in your mind and the light in the frame is cut out by a box, but you're shooting in a circular, so you're squaring the circle already. So you have a square. I'm basically looking at the light as a square, and what's the shapes that it's giving me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so like I'm looking at the bridge, and I'm seeing a right angle. I'm seeing a complete triangle. That gives me inspiration already. So now how do I show that really well?
Now, see, you just gave us a glimpse into your creative process.
Yeah.
That I had a question down later on about that, but expand on that a little bit more, because when I go around with the camera, and I'm sure Mark's the same way, and usually it's on when we're going somewhere or we're on a trip and let's take a picture of that. No, that's a nice, just remembering the object. But you're looking at things from a completely different.
I feel like it ain't worth the photo a lot of times, not with a picture of my daughter or something like that. But like I love to make impressive photos of my daughter. But what I'm saying is, when I take a picture, I don't want to make it useless. It has to be worth my time. And if I don't make it, then it's like pointless. So I have to make it as creative and as good as possible, or it's pointless to me. I only live once. Let's just make this as best as possible. And you have your mind, so let's just think this through. So let's just think it through. And not in this space that I have in my head, there's no one around me talking to me. And so downtown St. Louis expanded my creativity because there's a lot of distractions, right? So you have to go to a different place, and that involves like almost meditation. So a lot of times I was listening to Mozart and Beethoven when I don't even listen to that kind of music on my Bluetooth. And if you see downtown listening to Mozart and Beethoven, to me, I was looking at that, everything I see as almost as art. Everything was art to me. And now I'm the paintbrush.
Wow.
Yeah. The canvas is in front of me, and now I got to make it happen.
You just have to capture a portion of that canvas.
Yeah, you got to make it really good, though. You can't make it and unique, because everybody's doing the same thing, or they're trying to. There's lots of photographers doing the same kinds of things. So what can you possibly do to make this different? You use your brain. You got to think about it.
Are there times when you go downtown, or you're going to be doing some things, and things just aren't clicking?
Oh my gosh, yeah. There's so many times where I've just, what am I doing? Like, I'm not in the groove. There's other times where it's spontaneous. You'll get this burst of confidence where I'm walking downtown like I'm the king. Give me the key to the city. And I'm walking around like everybody knows me. And I've oftentimes thought that through. I don't want everybody to know who I am, but I do. I don't want them to know me visually, like my face, but I want them to know who I am. As far as like my legacy in life, I want to put my name on the city. Like I want Adam Wayne Arts to be known, and I want that to be felt.
Well, I think the 16,000 Instagram followers know about you. It's Adam Wayne _arts at Adam Wayne _arts. I think they know Adam.
Thank you. The bigger picture is I want an art show, not like an art I want an art gallery. I want my own, But like like an art show at the Science Center where pictures are being displayed on a big screen and they're maybe thrown at you in 3D if they like, and music behind it, portrayed. And I have often wrote like some spoken words that would be super magical to the story. And there's a lot to be told about our city that everybody thinks is so trashy and bad. You're looking at everything bad and trashy. Okay, and even the bad and trashy can be beautiful. But I don't try to glorify abandoned buildings. I don't try to climb on top of rooftops and stick my feet down and take a picture. I don't want to do anything illegal, and I want to do it artistically because that's how I'm seeing it. Everything is artistic to me now. I don't know why, but I think through depression, you come to a point, in my personal opinion, that I was like, I gotta just outthink this depression. And now I'm like playing a game against myself. Like I'm competing only against me. And I think that everybody does that. We all compete against.
I agree with that. And I think sometimes it might not be depression. It might be coming out of an illness where you have a different perspective on life, and you see the leaves, you see all the veins of the leaf, you hear birds singing like you'd never heard them sing before.
It's euphoric. It's like a super high that you don't want to get off of. And the frustrating part about that is now that you have a family and a life, you got to keep yourself non-distracted when you're with your family. And that's one thing that I've suffered through. I've eliminated most of my immediate, not my child and my girlfriend, but my mom and my dad and my brothers. I don't see them anymore because I've just isolated myself in the last 8 years to only photography and only my immediate family, because I needed to focus on me to make them happy, or to make anybody happy. I had to be happy. So I had to basically sink myself into photography so deep that now I'm just I am an artist. I've made myself into an artist only because I thought that through. I've thought everything through.
And that's the difference when you look at photographs and you see something, and Adam and I were talking about this before we went on the air, that I'll see some artwork or I'll see a photograph and okay, that's nice, doesn't do anything for me. And then I'll see something that, holy smokes, it will move me to the point of emotion. It could be tears, it could be anger, it could be joy. And the photographs do the same thing. That photograph I was showing you about King Louis IX and his horse, it evoked in me an emotion that, wow, power and royalty. And those when you can have that occur in somebody else, I think you've really communicated as an artist what you are portraying on the canvas.
That's like winning the lottery. When you're able to portray an emotion from what you do, that's like being a musician or anything, and somebody's loving your song. That's exact same feeling that you give me goosebumps. Anybody that bought an image from me or liked or commented, it gives you this euphoric feeling because that's what you're doing. If you're a true artist, that's exactly what you want. And you don't want anything other. You want to be successful. You want to make a living off of it, but you want more than anything to people feel what you feel. And that's when people write down songs, they write music, and they paint. Mine's channeling my emotions through photography, and I love it. It's so fun. Awesome. Yeah. Very excited.
Good deal.
It's his stuff, Mark. You've seen the
it's great. And I'm a big fan of the arch. And folks taking pictures of the arch. There's some guy keeps posting stuff. It's not him, but it's not Adam, but somebody keeps posting stuff of the arch. And I've started a file on my phone. I'll save those photographs. And some of them are just really interesting.
There's so many interesting things about the arch, even though it looks so simplistic. The brilliance is in the simplicity.
Yeah, I think you can take it from so many different ways, directions.
It's 630 feet high, 630 feet long. And my boss, he just said I was fired
is that right?
on my phone. But he said it's 60 feet down under the ground.
Wow.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
That's a lot of sixes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what you said, the brilliance is in the simplicity. That's true.
But if you think about it, 6 is a very powerful number. If you look at a snail, if you look at creation as a galaxy, if you look at a lot of things, it starts from the center and works its way out, which is a 6. It's a very powerful number. 3, 6, and 9, they're very powerful numbers. From Nikola Tesla, I believe is what he said.
Right.
Yeah, I believe it.
So you play your...
Oh, yeah, nice.
Your, what did you call it again?
It's called A True Manifesto.
The True Manifesto.
Yeah, I wrote this before the whole COVID thing.
So it's a pre-COVID manifesto.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't know why I said it that way. But it was before that. I was trying to say the time and date when I wrote it. It was before that. I just know that. It was before 2020.
Okay.
That's all I know.
All right. Here we go.
Yeah,
Listen to
true
this.
manifesto.
All right.
A true manifesto. I need a couple things to happen. 2 hands together, please. Start clapping. For one, a better mindset's got to happen. 2 things to go your way, more doing, less imagine. Second, I need more reaction. To say these still images need more alive action. And cut, let's start acting. The movie, let's make a classic. When all the remakes look so plastic, mine will be everlasting. So let's forget the past and re-emerge and have these things happen. Excuse me, my name's Adam. Nice to meet you. Let's make it happen.
Yeah. Marky Mark, look out.
So the play on words is what I was so impressed by myself, is that I took a beat and what I felt that day, I was like, I got to write this down. And I've wrote 4, maybe 5, 6, 7 of them, but that was my favorite one that I've wrote. And I believe the more you think about something, the more you want it, the more it will come true.
Amen.
And it really, it stems from,
So right.
It's so right.
Yeah.
It's so right. And I'm doing it from a good, pure place. And that's never been
That's
my
better.
thing before
Yeah.
this thing. It was like partying, having fun, you know what I'm saying? Cardinals baseball. It was all I thought about was the same old, which there's nothing wrong with the same old. I just, myself, personally, I needed that. And now I think it's fate, destiny, and now I can't stop. And people tell me all the time, don't stop, dude. Don't stop.
No,
Take
don't.
pictures.
Right,
And
right.
I'm like, are you looking at me right now? You know me? I ain't stopping. There ain't nothing stopping this guy. I'm telling you right now, there ain't nothing stopping me from being the #1 St. Louis.
Yeah.
That'll
In my
do it.
lifetime.
You know,
In my lifetime.
The interesting word in that manifesto, plastic.
Exactly.
How we've made life very plastic, and even Instagram.
And everlasting is me. And plastic is what they say is everlasting. You can't get rid of it.
Interesting.
I want to be that, but in a positive way. I
Right.
want my images to be everlasting, like plastic.
Okay, and I took it that there's a lot of plasticity going on.
Yeah, it's a double meaning.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
He's
You need to
showing
be
his
real.
age. He's showing his
No,
age.
he's got it. No, he's spot on. I'm glad he brought that up because
Yeah.
it is a double meaning. When I wrote that down, most of everything I wrote there was double meaning.
Yeah.
On every of it. That's the play on words is what I was in love with.
That's
right
good.
there.
Yeah.
Cool. So how much does equipment get in the way of creativity? Your camera, you got your camera, it works great.
Sure.
But have you ever used a different kind of camera other than your phone, or this thing isn't working? I guess I'm trying to compare it with someone the guy who's got 5,000 lenses, and
Well,
let me put this filter on here, and
yeah,
I
the
got to
guy
get my
with the-
f-stop set right.
The guy with the gigantic lens you were seeing, those
Yeah,
big
the one,
white ones.
Yeah, they're as long as a car.
Yeah, they're not needed in really almost all situations other than really far away bird photography or something like that in that fashion. They're good for that. But as far as I'm concerned, you can get, if not better shot with my camera than you can with that. You're so confounded to what you can do with that particular. So its only use is for that. So my camera is multi-use. It's called a bridge camera. It's not a DSLR. It's not a. I don't even know what the other type is. That's how unfamiliar I am with the camera world. I don't know anything
good.
about cameras, and I just know how to take pictures with my particular camera. That's it.
That's a gift. That
is a gift.
I'm telling you.
Because it's like, just get me a canvas.
I know.
Thank
and give me some paint
Yeah.
or
It's a
some.
gift.
Yeah.
I just need enough pixels is what I was trying to
Right.
get at, that people can buy it, print it, or I could print it off, and it would be really pretty. I don't want nothing that's going to be grainy. And that's what I was getting with my other camera, is that some of the really awesome creative shots that I had gotten in my OCD, like that I felt like I wanted it to be crisp, clean, and clear and precise, because I'm fixated about the horizon being straight. But all that equipment is not needed.
No.
The tripod is good for long exposure shots when you need to take when you want the traffic to go by and get those streaming lights or the sky, the long exposure shots like that. A tripod's excellent for that. But if you set it down on a rock and you put it on a self timer, it starts taking the photo on its own because you have the self timer, and it's on a rock and it's not moving anywhere unless
Right.
you jump on the rock. You know?
Now, I'm going to dig deeper here, Adam. There's got to have been some creative energy going when you were a child, when you were in elementary or middle or high school. It just doesn't all of a sudden appear on the scene. It had to have been there, and maybe it was suppressed a little bit in some way. But you obviously I'm going to say, have noticed something in your past that I had it back then a little bit.
Sure did. Yeah, I felt like I had something special. I just didn't know what it was when I was young. I've had psychic visions throughout my life, so I thought that was really weird. And I had seen ghosts as a kid, like legit ghosts. I seen premonitions of ghosts. I had the feeling pushed down the hallway by a ghost. So some of these things were really odd to me. I had seen the future before it happened. Like I was in a car wreck and knew it was coming before it happened, but I couldn't say it to the guys in front of me. I couldn't speak it, but I knew it was coming. And nothing happened to me. None of us, actually, one person got hurt, but he didn't. He survived. Either way, I saw that happen, but I didn't know I didn't think it was going to be a psychic. It was so sporadic and so spontaneous that I knew that wasn't it, and I didn't really think about it too much. So I think me being like a hard worker and being able to create, say someone's cutting, I could figure out how to cut that the quickest and get it done the fastest in the smallest amount of time in the most efficient way. That's how I've always tried to work it. And that's with every job I've ever done. I made pizzas for Cecil Whitaker's for like 6 years. I tried to figure out how to make the fastest pizzas and the best pizzas. I want people to call back in and say that was the best pizza I've ever had in my life. That's how I've always been. I've always been competitive. I want to do the best, be the best. And I just think hard work is like lacking in society. Yes. You need hard work. We need it. It's almost like we're workhorses. We are working like types. We need that hard work. I feel like that's what I've always had is hard work. Yeah. I can work hard and I'm not giving up. I'm never going to give up on photography. So I feel like anybody thinks that they're going to take over the number one spot in St. Louis. That's how I feel in my head. And I don't think it's right. So I don't say it out loud a lot, but I say it to myself. You can't outwork me.
Yeah.
You cannot outwork me.
You have most artists, they have an internal drive.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and I don't think that someone can outwork me. I'm just saying you can't outwork me. You got to tell yourself that. You got to keep yourself confident, or you will show it in your photography. You'll show it in whatever you do. If you're lacking confidence, you'll show it. And I feel like that in photography, you're just snapping photos.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people are just snapping photos with the best camera they can get. So they go out and buy the lens, the best camera, and they try to get into the most popular spots. Okay, I try to do the opposite of that. I'm going to be in the same spots because we're all in the same place. But what can I do to differentiate myself from everybody else, the whole pack? They're not really inspired by nature, it seems, as much as I am. So how can I show that off as best possible?
And that's the thing. You can have the very best camera in the world and everything else. Your creative process has to be the one. A very creative person can use a Brownie or this will take us back, a Polaroid swinger.
I had an Instamatic 100. Come on.
Yeah. Did it lack the creative process, though?
No, and he's right.
Yeah.
Big cameras with these big lenses.
And I'm sure they get incredible shots out of it.
Right.
That's not what I was.
Yeah, but there's more.
It's
It's your eye. It's what, like you
It
say.
is.
It's
It does start
perspective.
with your, unless you want to just do that with it. There's a lot of people who just take bird shots and make lots of money taking bird photos and make great money with that big, large camera. I can't do.
Don't want to do
It's
it.
not desirable to me. I might one day, if I have the money, to buy a big, large camera like that and just stick it on my wall, just like that. Like a gun, like a sword, you know.
Above the mantle.
Yeah, above the mantle. Right. That's what I would do.
How do you approach themes? Do you have I want to do this theme this month, or what is your process
Good
mentally?
question. When I first started, like the second year or so, I noticed one day I looked at a photo from somebody and he had project written on it. And instantly I was like, why don't I start projects for myself? So every month that whole year I started a project. That whole month was like, the first month was the art of water. And the second month would be like the art of the leaf. And then the next month, the art of black and light, not black and white, but black and light. So I made it different. So I was using black and whites and then light photography as far as sunlight.
Wow.
And then the art of the prop. And I can't remember every one. The art of the tree. There's lots of them. The art of the arch, I think I even did. But that really set my variety up is what I wanted. I didn't want to be that guy that only took pictures of one thing. But he could take pictures of one thing and make it a million different ways. So I do that. So I can take one picture of the arch, or I can take one object like the arch and make it in so many different ways. But without using Photoshop, without doing any creative, using a model or, none of that. I don't need it.
You don't need the dark room, the Ansel Adams, mixing the the stuff.
The macro photography, like the real close-up stuff,
Right.
I even did that as one of my projects 1 month. So now every day I go out and I know what I can do. I know what I can do because I had those projects, and at the end of that year, I knew I had a good.
Are you thinking about it in black and white, or are you thinking about it in color, or like when you go back and you develop and you're looking at them and you go, that needs to be in black and white, or that needs to be in color?
Ooh, that's a good question. A lot of times I look at it, I know it's going to be black and white because this creative shot setting I have on my camera, it takes 6 shots in burst mode.
Oh, wow.
And you can turn it to monochrome, which is all black and white, retro, which is like retro colors, and then natural, which I use a lot, and then special, which I never use. It's like it gives it like some kind of weird looks and stuff. But I'll put it automatically on monochrome. It's as soon as I know there's going to be a black and white photo. So it'll take a natural shot first, and then the next 5 shots simultaneously will change each shot into a different tone, a different black and white tone. One would be sepia, or whatever, and then a real HDR monochrome look, and then a crispy, like high contrast.
Wow.
Yeah, so it really is creative. So now I'm using that setting. Okay, I have a creative shot setting, so I have to be creative with the creative shot setting. And I don't think anybody, I've researched this camera, I don't think anybody knows how to use this particular setting like I know how to use it.
Yeah, but you haven't read the manual yet either.
I mastered
That
it without
helps.
reading the manual. Like the Eads Bridge I gave you in the architectural background. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to capture that bridge with no background in photography, the best photographer looking shot. And I knew the waves in the water, they represent the arch to me. They have there's arches in the Eads Bridge all over. The waves of the water is an arch.
Yeah.
The little waves of the outline is another arch. And I see that, and I want to make people see it. Everything in that photo is thought out.
What's interesting about that is people will be drawn to the object rather than the reflection of the object or
Yes.
how the object is seen by nature or how it's reflected in nature.
I got lucky and it was foggy that day, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I'm never
great.
downtown in the morning. I have to make this happen.
So this is not touched up at all. This is
Natural. Really, there's some contrast, and
unbelievable.
I wanted this to be dark. I wanted it to be dark enough where it looked dark and
A big contrast.
Yeah, exactly. I don't even know the exact words to things.
That's right.
I just know what it.
As long as you have it in your head and your eye, that's what you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah.
And there's different ways. There's settings that you could put on your camera to make it a certain way, but I don't know any of that.
This is a great photo. It really is.
Yeah, it's a classic. It's one of my favorites. It's
Yeah.
because it's so simplistic, but there's brilliance in that
Yes,
simplicity.
exactly.
It really is. There's another arch in the light cutout is what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
It's in my eye.
Yeah.
So everything is to me it's just cloud 9. I don't know. I want to do the math on everything, and I'm horrible at math. I want to do the math here. I want to do the math there. There's some math there.
And the
Oh,
fact
yeah.
that it was a foggy day, you just captured the moment. It's
And
just,
one of my shots that same day, I threw a pebble in the water.
There's the arch.
oh my.
Turn it on its side.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Golly.
Yeah. And then in the drop of water arch shot that I have, okay, so the bottom of that drop is an arch.
Right?
Okay, so inside that drop is another arch, right?
Right.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
and recently on that photo editor app, I've been reflecting images with itself. And if you
I've seen that.
reflect a lot of nature images with itself, the architecture that's involved there is mind blowing.
Yeah.
All I'm doing is reflecting the image with itself. Now the grass literally looks like a structure, which it already did to me. That's
Right.
what inspires me.
But it even looks more.
Oh man, it creeps me out, but yet it doesn't. It's like the most creepiest, greatest feeling ever because you see faces, things that you didn't think you could see,
Yeah.
and they were right there in front of your face only because you reflected it. And in water, you do the same thing. So I think it's almost like a parallel universe. Water and reflections. There's a parallel universe there, and that's where we travel, and we don't know it.
Now your work is down at PwC, which is down at Ballpark Village.
Yeah, yep, in the Ballpark Village office space building. Yep.
And now, do you still have a book coming out?
Okay, at the end of the year, I have 25 images that were selected for a STL Visions book
Okay.
that will be coming out at the end of the year. And then they'll contact me and let me know exactly how many they selected. But I sent them 100 files or whatever, and out of 100 images in this book, 25 of them are going to be mine.
Wow.
That's really cool.
That is.
And then Explore St. Louis had contacted me about 2 months ago or something. I entered a contest to have photos on the Jefferson Arms Building. So now I got 2 big photos on the at Jefferson Arms Building. They put
They are.
on the facade.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's only 10 photos.
And you just
selected.
entered a contest.
Yeah, there's
Isn't
only
that great?
10.
That's
yeah,
crazy.
Yeah,
It's-
10 photos out of 300 were selected, and 2 of them are mine.
That's
And
unbelievable.
2 is my number.
Good for you.
92 is the radio station. That's my birthday.
Yeah,
There you are. There you are, Mark.
we're here. Come on, bud.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm going to have to drive by there now.
Oh, yeah.
On my
Totally.
way home,
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and I'll
Yeah,
be able to
I have
probably
it-
pick yours out.
Yeah, there's the tree notia is the structure, I think it's called. It's in between like the highway. It's a big red structure. It looks like an A to me. But I took a picture of that. They put it on the Jefferson Arms Building in a Gateway Arch photo of mine in the
Okay.
grass, really low, because I'm a weird person.
Was that the one of the
likes
arch
to
with the
low.
grass?
Yeah,
that
yeah.
you were in
Well,
the
I'm
grass?
trying to perspectively look at what the ant would see.
Yeah, I loved it.
Right.
I thought it was great.
Yeah, and that's what they selected that one, and I was like, oh my god, these are 2 of my favorites. And actually, it's my wallpaper on my phone.
Huh.
I didn't even this thing right here. They selected that image to put on the
Oh,
Jefferson
yeah.
Arm Building.
Yeah, that's a cool
So
one.
I liked how this structure went through the clouds.
Yep.
You can see the courthouse from downtown, the civil
Right.
court building. That's
Right,
right,
right, right.
there. So
Oh.
it's in that area. I don't know exactly what it's called. I think it's called tree notia because
Is
there's
that-
trees in front of this.
Is that at 44 and 55?
Yeah,
That
like
intersection?
yeah, where it's all winding,
Right.
going right into the downtown.
Maybe that's what the artist was trying to get out of that. Like
Yeah.
You got this, convergence of all these
It
roads.
really
here.
is. I don't know how many times where I've been wanting to pull over because I've seen something that was so like.
Oh, yeah.
Because the cathedrals downtown are so beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, and all these older buildings are so beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
And they don't make them like they used to.
No.
So, and I want, and right at that area, you can see all the cathedrals lining up before the arch and before downtown, and they really contrast each other. They stick up
The spires.
Yeah, the spires. They stick up, and the green roofs. It's really picturesque to me.
Yeah.
But that's so easy. So I want that shot, but then again, I'm like, okay, that ain't creative enough. You know what I'm saying? I want that shot, so I would take the shot, but I want something clever and creative.
So can anybody request a photo? Like, I want to request that you take
Yeah, well, the guy
a
that-
shot of a baseball at Busch Stadium with the arch in the background.
Sure, yeah, of course
From-
they can.
or something like
yeah,
that.
I would just charge them basic fee, like a
Wow.
freelance fee.
Yeah.
Yeah, $50 or something like that. I don't know that's my issue is I don't know what to do with myself. I know I have a gold mine that I'm sitting on, and I just don't know how to do or market myself. I need a
Right.
marketing team, or I need to know how. I only use Instagram. That's my only social.
Needs a manager.
I don't even use Facebook. I have to have it to have Instagram.
Right.
But I don't use it. I use Reddit now to get my pictures out there too. And I've done pretty well there actually. But it just started. So I've only used Instagram. That's it.
Well, you've utilized a venue
Mm-hmm.
that a lot of people are using for a variety of things, but you really used it to go from 0 to 100 miles an hour pretty quickly.
Yeah, well, I saw Instagram when I first started, almost like YouTube. Like this page, like Instagram was when it first started getting popular. When I first started getting into photography, I was like, this thing is going to blow up because no one wants to read anything anymore. What
Right.
their feelings are on
Right.
Facebook, they want to see photos.
That's
Right.
it.
All I wanted to do was see photos.
Right.
So I was like, I knew this was going to be big, and I wanted my page to be one of those pages they go see.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted to go see my page.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted. I had this vision of music and art as my forefront. And I've faded away a little bit from the music as far as me putting it on my page, but it's still there. I want that vision to stick around. And people have contacted me. I'm going to be in a hook for a new rap song. That is, a local artist is a rapper. He's going to put me as like the chorus hook.
Okay.
I don't even.
Good
He
deal.
found me on there, and he wants me to be. And I've done a rap video, and I don't want to do any of that really. I just know that if I keep on using this platform the way I am, that the sky's the limit as far as who can find me. Even yourself, and there's many other things I could list that I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they found me.
And the huge thing is it's the creative viewpoint that it is art. It's not a photograph. It's art. And there's a big difference there. It's like what we've talked about previously about taking a photograph or doing a shoot. And I'm just amazed at your the vision that you have, and that's amazing to me that you can see these things ahead of time. And when you point out things in your photographs that maybe I haven't seen, that's revealing and educates me on wow, I need to open my eyes up a little bit and open my mind up a little bit more to the creative things that are out there that I'm missing.
Yeah, everybody has their happy, and mine is just it so happened to be this. Now, can I make people happy by looking at it? That's what I want to do. Now, I've always just said people just need a passion for life, because before this, I had just like the regular old attitude. Like, oh, I got to go. But now, even though I have to go to work today, I still have a day job. I know I have this.
Yeah.
This was, and I have a daughter that, of course, she makes me happy. But this is like that fills that void that you have inside.
Right.
Everybody has a void.
Yeah.
This fills my void, and everybody has something. They just got to find it. When you find it, do not throw it away. Keep it like a first love, like your true love. You keep that thing and you hold on to it, because that's your legacy. That's what that's what people are going to know you for.
I don't really probably need to go on.
No. We need you to do a philosophical book with pictures.
Yeah, people have been asking me, when's your book coming out? And I'm like, I don't have the money to make my own book. If someone knew how to contact the company that wants my pictures in their book, I'm like, I've thought about calling them and say, hey, can I create my own book? I just haven't done it. I don't have the courage to call someone and say, hey, you want my work? I want them to come to me. Obviously, everybody does. But I don't know how to even approach anybody.
Okay. We'll try to hook you up with the right people there.
Yeah, just to market myself would be nice, somehow, some way.
Adam, I really appreciate you coming on. This has been a great hour of getting your viewpoint on the world.
Inspiration,
Yeah,
Our
and
inspiration.
seeing how your creative expression is done through your lens. And thank you very much for the work that you do.
Yeah, I'm very pleased to be on. I appreciate you guys having me on.
We are glad you listened to this episode of St. Louis in Tune. Please share this podcast or tell a friend. St. Louis in Tune is produced in cooperation with KWRH 92.9 FM and Motif Media Group. For St. Louis in Tune, I'm Arnold Stricker.